It honestly wasn't something I was supposed to hear. That night, we had a bunch of friends over, and as things went on, everyone naturally split off into smaller groups. A few of us were in one room playing Texas Hold'em, while a couple others had started a Lord of the Rings marathon in the living room. I assumed she was in there watching the movies too, but turns out she was actually in the kitchen with one of her close friends, just chatting and sipping coffee. I got up to grab some snacks and refill our drinks since we were out of soda. As I turned the corner into the kitchen, I caught her voice mid-sentence. Before I fully walked in, I heard her clearly say, "Jason is great, but he'll never compare to Bill in bed." She didn't stop there either. The next thing she said was, "It's not really fair to Jason though, Bill was just really gifted down there." For a second, I thought about just turning around and heading back to the poker game, pretending there were no snacks left and that I hadn't heard a word. But instead, I made a bit of noise so they'd hear me coming in. Her friend saw me round the corner and immediately gave her a look, one of those wide-eyed owl glances, to let her know I was now standing right there. She had no clue I caught what she said, though. She stopped mid-convo, turned to me all casual, and asked how I was doing, if I was having fun. I wanted to make some kind of cutting joke, something like, "Well, I guess I'm having as much fun as a guy who's not gifted down there can have." But I bit my tongue. I just told her yeah, grabbed the drinks and snacks, and headed back to the group like nothing had happened. The rest of the night, I kept my cool. I played it off completely. But inside? I was unraveling. That moment absolutely wrecked me. I mean, really messed me up in ways I didn't expect. I'd never been the jealous type or insecure about myself, at least not until then. That night, I barely slept. I just laid there, cycling through emotions like a tornado. First came the anger. Then the embarrassment. Then came the pit in my stomach. And then I went right back to being furious all over again. Here's the thing, yeah, I get that the male ego seems ridiculous to a lot of women. Even to some guys who act like they've got it all figured out. I used to be one of them. But once your ego takes a hit like that, it changes you. It's not just about pride, it's personal. I did everything I could to hide how it made me feel. I didn't want her to know I was spiraling. But as the days passed, I just kept pulling away. I was avoiding her whenever I could. She definitely noticed something was off, but she didn't press me about it. Not until she tried to initiate sex a few days later and I flat out rejected her. And to be honest, that rejection wasn't even something I planned. I had told myself I'd get over it, let it go, and move on. But when it came down to the moment, I didn't feel desire, I felt worthless. Embarrassed. Small. My body just didn't respond, no matter how hard we tried to make it work. She asked me what was going on, and I just blamed it on work stress. But she didn't buy it. She kept pushing, and I kept deflecting until I finally cracked and told her exactly what I'd heard in the kitchen. Yeah, it didn't go well. At first, she tried to claim I misunderstood. But when I quoted her word for word, she knew she was caught. Then came the apology. She said she was sorry and even tried to hear me out, which, honestly, probably wasn't a turn-on for her. I was emotionally wrecked, and she could see it. She told me how much she loved me, how I was a better man, how I satisfied her in ways that mattered. But all I could hear was that muffled noise teachers making cartoons. None of it landed. It's been almost a month now, and I still can't bring myself to be intimate with her. Zero drive. Nothing. Now she's starting to get upset, too, but no matter what I try, I can't shake it. She didn't say we were both good. She didn't say it was a close comparison. She said he was better. Hands down. And I can't stop thinking that gifted down there probably means he was a lot bigger than me. I mean, I can bring everything else to the table, hands, mouth, creativity, whatever. But size? That's out of my control. And the worst part? She won't even talk about it now. She says no matter what she says, it'll just make things worse. And she's probably right. Even if she complimented me, I'd assume she was just trying to spare my feelings. Some extra context, this guy, the ex, he dumped her. Straight up broke her heart. I know that for a fact because she told me herself early on. She said she wasn't ready for anything serious when we first met because he'd left her so emotionally wrecked. So it's not even like I can tell myself she chose me over him. Because if he hadn't left, she might still be with him. And honestly, I don't even know anymore if she'd take him back if he showed up. Maybe not. But that seed of doubt is there now. I feel myself emotionally detaching more each day. Yeah, I know it sounds petty as hell. But hearing the person you love tell someone else they'd rather sleep with someone else, it's brutal. Her trying to make up for it by telling me I'm a good man, a great provider, and would make an amazing husband? That just makes it worse. What happens if I lose my job? Or get hurt and can't support us anymore? Would she still stick around? Right now, I feel like some nice guy friend she just happened to sleep with a few times. And I know that's not rational, but it's how I feel deep down. I don't even know what I'm hoping to get out of writing this. I'm just lost. And if something doesn't change, I think I'm going to call off the engagement. Edit 1. I made this post late last night, responded to a couple questions, then tried to distract myself by going Christmas shopping. I didn't even check back in until just now. Apparently, there are over 7,700 comments now. I haven't read any of them yet, but seriously, thanks for responding. I'm about to start digging through them. Also, thank you to whoever gave me gold and silver. You didn't have to, but I appreciate it. Edit 2. Oh man. I thought I had finally reached the end of the comments, and then I saw the load 5K more posts button. Yeah, I'm done for the night. Or morning, technically. I wanted to reply to everyone, but that's just not possible now. I haven't even touched my private messages yet, or the 20 different chat windows people have opened with me. But before I dive into any of that, there are a few things I want to set straight because some of the stuff people are assuming just isn't true. First off, there's this idea going around that my fiancé was drunk and just babbling like Barney Gumble in some sweet drunk talk moment. That's false. Neither of us drink. We don't even keep alcohol in the house, let alone use it during hangouts like that. So no, what she said stone cold sober. Second, I've seen people say I'm overreacting because she didn't say it to me directly, she said it to her friend. Honestly? That part didn't really get to me at first. When I initially made the post, I was way more upset about what she felt, not the fact that she said it to someone else. But now, after reading how many folks are justifying that part, I'm realizing, yeah, it stings. Because I would never talk about her like that to anyone. I've always protected how others see her. I'd never throw her under the bus, even in private. Third, there's the group calling me an insecure man-child who just needs to man up. Look, I'll be the first to admit I'm feeling insecure as hell right now. No argument there. But this whole just do better thing? That's where we hit a wall. There are limits to what a guy can control. I've got what I've got, and no matter how hard I try, I'm never going to magically grow bigger. We've even talked about it during one of the conversations where she was trying to make me feel better. She told me everything else about me was great. Just not the one thing I can't change. And yeah, maybe I added half an inch in my own head just to soften the blow, but the reality doesn't change. Fourth, no, I'm not about to do anything drastic. This didn't just happen last week. It's been over a month, and I'm still here, still trying to figure it out. But I also know I can't keep dragging this out forever. It's not fair to her, and it's definitely not fair to me. I'm basically just going through the motions now, not really invested, and that's no way to live. Fifth, she told me she's sorry. She's apologized for saying what she said, and she's even said she's sorry I had to hear it. But let's be honest, if I hadn't overheard it, she wouldn't be sorry at all. She regrets getting caught more than anything else. That said, I do believe she's genuinely shaken up over it. She's been a mess since I told her I heard it. She keeps saying how much it hurts her that I've pulled away from her like this. I don't know how much of that is true, but I don't see why she'd lie about it now. Either way, this whole thing has completely killed our holiday spirit this year. There's just a heaviness around us now. Edit 3. For the folks asking, I'm an engineer. She works as a paralegal. Edit 4. A lot of people are asking about her relationship with her ex, and how I know she wasn't over him when we got together. So here's what happened. We met around 9 months after they broke up. I found out pretty early that he ended things because he wanted to be with someone else. She always insisted he didn't cheat, just that he left her to pursue another relationship. We met at a local workshop, started talking, and began dating casually. I'll never forget our fourth date. Things were starting to get physical for the first time, and out of nowhere, she broke down crying about him. That was awkward, to say the least. I sat there holding her while she sobbed about another guy. Not exactly a dream date. But I understood she wasn't ready, so I didn't push anything. We kept seeing each other off and on, but I never tried to take things further because it was obvious she wasn't emotionally available yet. Eventually, maybe 2 months in, she pulled me up to her apartment one night and said she felt awful for dragging me along. She thanked me for being patient and told me she didn't want to mess around anymore. That night ended up being our first time together. And just a few months after that, she said she loved me. So yeah, I know for a fact she was still hung up on him when we started. I just thought, maybe even hoped, that by now she'd moved on. Clearly, I was wrong. Update 1. The original thread has now passed 3K comments and is a few days old. I still want to reply to some of the main points, but realistically, I just can't get back to everyone. At this point, adding more edits to the post itself feels kind of pointless, most people probably aren't even checking it anymore. Still, I need to get a few more things off my chest before deciding whether to post an official update. A lot of people messaged or commented telling me to hit the gym, bulk up, transform into some kind of alpha weightlifting machine. Some were supportive. Others were pretty nasty about it. But here's the thing, they're making assumptions based on a stereotype. You know, the out-of-shape, quiet engineer type? That's not me. I was a state finalist in wrestling during high school. I got a partial athletic scholarship to a Division II college and wrestled through my freshman and sophomore years. Then I tore my rotator cuff, of all things, throwing a damn baseball. I was rehabbing and nearly back in shape by junior year, but the therapy schedule clashed with everything else in my life. By senior year, I had too much on my plate: school, work, a girlfriend. I just couldn't commit to the demands of wrestling anymore. Now, I'm not saying I'm still in peak form, I'm definitely not what I was in my prime. But I've stayed in good shape. I still lift, still do cardio at the local gym. One of my buddies has me doing his intense workout routine lately, and it's been kicking my ass, but I'm trying. I've still got a lot of leg work to do, I'll admit that. And since we're clearing things up, here's another one: people acting like I must have been some lonely, dateless nerd before I met my fiancée. Not true. I've had plenty of relationships, including a couple of casual ones in grad school. I've never had issues attracting women, and I've never felt like I was lacking in that department until now. And that's what's so frustrating. Before this happened, I never thought twice about my self-worth. I wasn't cocky, but I wasn't insecure either. And I've never had a woman say something like that about me before. Not where I could hear it. Maybe someone said something behind my back, I wouldn't know. But this? This hit me like a punch to the gut. So does breaking down over all this make me a weak man? A crybaby? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. But the truth is, I've never experienced anything like this before. My past breakups were, for the most part, mature and respectful. Yeah, I had one messy high school breakup, but who didn't? That doesn't even count. And for all the brilliant minds telling me I just need to learn better techniques or improve my skills, you're missing the point entirely. That's not what she said. She didn't say I could improve. She said I'll never measure up. That no matter what I do, I'll always come up short, literally. I could become some tantric sex wizard and still not change the one thing she clearly values most. I mean, I could learn every trick in the book, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna magically become the guy with a 9-inch monster. That's just not how it works. And should that even matter? Maybe not. But it clearly does to her. Otherwise, why would she say it? There's no way to undo what I heard. No way to put that back in the box. Which brings me to what's probably bothering me the most. I've had men, women, and even a few gay guys over 30 from some subreddit I didn't even know existed, say that it's just sex. Like it's no big deal. But for me, sex has never been just sex, at least not with someone I love. Sure, I had a couple of no-strings flings in grad school, but even then, I found myself catching feelings. I don't do hookups. Haven't in years. For me, intimacy only makes sense in the context of a relationship. If you're wired differently, good for you. I'm not judging. But I'm not gonna force myself to feel the way you do just because you say I should. Do I need to be her all-time best in bed? Hell yes, I want that. Why wouldn't I? And honestly, if you'd asked me a month ago, I would have said I was. Now that I know I'm not the best she's ever had, yeah, I'll be honest, it's not something I'm okay with. I've tried to be. But the truth is, it eats away at me. If it was something I could work on, something I could improve, like technique, attentiveness, communication, I'd be all in. I'd try. But to hear her say flat out that I'll never measure up, that he'll always be better, that crushed me. My pride just couldn't handle it. Say what you want about me, call me weak, call me whatever, but that's my truth. And some of the messages I've gotten? Absolutely disgusting. A few people had the nerve to say I should just be grateful she lets me sleep with her. That I should feel lucky she wants me at all. Are you kidding me? That right there? That offends me more than I can even describe. Maybe I've lived in some kind of fairy tale bubble, but I always thought a relationship should be mutual. You want each other. You choose each other. It's not about someone allowing the other to be with them like they're doing them a favor out of obligation. So yeah, if that makes me a bitch, like some of you have made me, fine. I'll wear it. But I refuse to be that guy who begs for affection. If I'm not wanted the way I want my partner, then forget it. At that point, honestly, I'd rather just pay for an escort and save myself the emotional cost and probably the financial one too in the long run. Right now, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. But if I'm being real, I've got a pretty good idea. I just haven't made it official yet. And if this isn't the right forum for this kind of emotional dump, someone let me know. I'll do my best to respond to comments, though. Update 2. Everything kind of came to a breaking point last night. She sat me down and straight up asked if I didn't love her anymore. All I could tell her was that a big part of me still does. But another part, a really important part, doesn't anymore. And that's because of what she said. That kicked off a longer conversation, most of which I won't get into here. But the heart of it was this: I told her if she had just said he was better at something, or more attentive, or more experienced, I could have worked with that. I would have taken her feedback. I would have practiced, tried harder, adjusted anything she asked. But to find out I'll never be good enough, because of something I can't change, that's the part one can't shake. And yeah, I was brutally honest. I said if it had been just some random one-night stand with some dude who happened to be well endowed, maybe I could have gotten past that. But knowing it was him, the guy she was still in love with when we met, the one who broke her heart, who she never really let go of, that was a wound too deep. She kept trying to reassure me, telling me how I'm better in every other way. That I shouldn't throw away a whole future together because of one thing. But I told her the truth, that one thing matters to me. More than it probably should. I hate that it does. I told her it's probably some mental flaw in me. Maybe it's how I'm wired. But for whatever reason, I need to feel like I'm the one. Her best. And now I know, from her own mouth, that I'm not. I tried to be gentle, even while saying the hard stuff. I told her I understood that my mindset might not be entirely healthy, but it's still my reality. I'm not trying to play the victim. I'm just trying to be honest. For the record, that conversation wasn't calm and clean like this version. It was messy. There were tears. From both of us. A lot of them. This isn't some neat little story with a lesson or a happy ending. I'm mentally wrecked. I feel hollow. Our Christmas is ruined, completely off the rails. We had plans to spend the holidays together with both of our families, and now we've got to figure out how to tell them this isn't happening anymore. And how do I even explain it? She didn't cheat. If I say she's still hung up on her ex, she'll deny it. She'll say the truth, that I overheard something and took it too personally. There's no version of this that isn't going to be awkward or humiliating. No matter how we slice it, it's going to suck. I feel like a total failure. A failure as a man, because I couldn't measure up. A failure as a partner, because I couldn't just swallow my pride and move on. She's been begging me to try couples counseling. At first, I said no. Because seriously, what could it fix? We could sit there and talk about this over and over. We could communicate until we're blue in the face. But it doesn't change what she said. It doesn't change that I heard it. And it definitely doesn't change how I feel knowing the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with doesn't see me as her best. That's not something therapy can erase. Still, because she seemed so genuinely heartbroken, I agreed to try. Try being the key word. I'm not promising I'll stick with it. Today, I packed up a bunch of my stuff and moved out. I'm crashing with a coworker for a few days while I try to find my own place. She's been with her sister all day. I feel like complete and utter crap. And the worst part? Even after all of this, I still love her. Edit 1. Just like before, I made this post and then stepped away for a while. I went out with my buddy, we saw Mortal Engines, grabbed some dinner, and ended up talking for hours. When I finally got back and started reading, I realized it's going to take me forever to go through everything again. And once more, there's no realistic way I'll be able to reply to each comment or message. Still, thank you to everyone who's read, commented, or reached out. I really appreciate it. Edit 2. There's something from that long talk we had that I want to share. When we were having one of those heavy, drawn-out conversations, I tried to get her to understand how it felt from my perspective. I know comparing sexual performance or physical traits isn't going to hit her the same way it hit me. So I framed it differently. I asked her to imagine this. What if she overheard me talking to my friend Tim and heard me say, "Jill is amazing, but she'll never understand me the way Tiffany did." It's not Jill's fault, Tiffany was just the smartest, most emotionally in tune person I've ever known. Jill just isn't as deep. And then, when she confronted me about it, I shrugged it off with something like, "Yeah, but I love you for all your other qualities. No one makes a sandwich like you do. And hey, at least I don't think you're going to take half my money one day." At first, she tried to say that it was a totally different situation. But after we talked more, she eventually admitted that yeah, if she heard something like that, it would really hurt her too. She said she wouldn't break up with me over it, but the pain would be real. That's when I told her, even in this hypothetical scenario, something I'd never actually say about someone I love, she could at least improve those things. She could study more, work on being more compassionate, learn to understand me better. But with what she said, there's no improving what I'm lacking. I can't work harder and change that. Edit 3. If anyone's still reading, I just want to say one last thing. A bunch of people have called me a whiny crybaby. Honestly, that's one of the nicer things they've said. And all because I apparently can't get over the fact that someone out there in the world has a bigger dick than me. Listen, I'm not delusional. I've never believed I was walking around with a magic wand. But growing up, I bought into the narrative that women didn't care about size. That it was all a myth. Turns out, some women don't care, but clearly, some do. And unfortunately, my ex is one of those. Now, if what she said had come across as just a random, matter-of-fact comment, maybe I could have swallowed it. Maybe. But what tore me apart was knowing that nothing I did, no matter how much I loved her, no matter how much effort I gave, it would never be enough to match someone else. She said that like it was a fact. That's the part one couldn't move past. Yeah, I probably place too much value on sex. I get that. But it matters to me. And beyond the physical stuff, what I want more than anything is to feel wanted as badly as I want to want someone else. If that makes sense. I know the next person I date will have a past. They'll have slept with people who might have been more skilled, more experienced, or more physically impressive. That's fine. I can live with that. What I can't live with is someone still holding on to that years later like it's the gold standard. Update 3. I wasn't planning on posting anything else, but I keep getting messages every day asking how things are going. So, for anyone who still cares, I'll give you the honest answer. It's over. We went to counseling together 3 times. I really tried. I tried to go in with an open mind, tried to give it a chance. But in the end, the damage was just too deep. That one comment, those few careless words, created a wound that never really closed. I even gave her a chance to reframe what she said, or walk it back somehow. I was hoping she'd take that opportunity. But instead, she kind of doubled down. And honestly, by that point, I think she was just as frustrated as I was. Neither of us came out of this feeling good. Nobody's happy. For me, the hardest part has been trying to explain the breakup to family and friends. I didn't want to go into the gritty details, so I tried to use the old line, "It's personal." That backfired hard. People just made up their own stories. Some even assumed she cheated on me and started spreading that around. I've been doing non-stop damage control ever since. I've decided to keep going to therapy on my own. Because the truth is, this whole thing shattered my confidence. My self-esteem has been in the gutter since all of this went down. I've only seen her once since we split. And I swear, it was one of the hardest moments of my life. She's deep in the angry phase now, furious, bitter. She's called me every name under the sun and even invented some new ones just for good measure. So yeah, that's where it all landed. We loved each other. Maybe we still do, in some messed up way. But sometimes love doesn't survive the words we say. Especially the ones we never meant to be heard.